We are launching this season off talking about conspiracy theories surrounding the Titanic. My name is Titanic, and you are listening to Fallen Hour Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you may be tuning in my podcast, whatever time you may be listening, whatever platform you may be on, Spotify, Anchor, iTunes, Podbean, wherever you are, whoever you are, I am happy you are listening. Speaking of wherever you are, we were looking at our numbers and we actually peaked in the last couple days. We're actually getting a lot of new listeners, and of all the listeners in the United States, our top number is coming out of California. And this is really cool because I can see the actual towns you guys are in. And a lot of you guys that are listening are from California, and I want to give a shout out to you guys in California. I really appreciate you listening. I'm really happy you guys are listening to the podcast. Really happy you guys are here. And if you guys want to get a hold of me, I want to hear from you guys. Go to facebook.com/cdlinic. Send me a message. I want to hear from you guys from California. I want to hear from you guys from England. Hear from you guys from France. These are actually all the other numbers we have as well, the top listeners. I want to hear from you guys. So just to go down the list of the top 4 towns in California, if I mention your town, please give me a message on Facebook at cdalenic, CDALEENICK, and shoot me a message. Tell me your story. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear about what you guys are interested in. I want to hear about your experience of Fallen Hour Radio, your experience with connecting with the podcast, and how you guys found us. So, we have Mountain View, California, San Jose, California, Stillmar, California, and San Francisco, California. I am super excited to hear from you guys. Super excited that you guys are tuning into the podcast week by week, day by day, and I'm happy you guys are here for the new season. Also, we are actually looking for sponsorships from you guys, listeners, the loyal fans that are tuning into the podcast week by week, day by day, on these other platforms. We are looking for sponsors to sustain our podcast, to keep our podcast going. We're actually looking for new equipment because we have some equipment we need to upgrade. And I want to give you guys the best quality experience, the best experience on our podcast. I want to give you guys much, much more podcasts, but I need some sponsorships from you guys. So if you guys are interested and you guys want to sponsor the podcast and get exclusive content just for you, go to anchor.fm/fallenhour. That's anchor.fm/fallenhour. Fallen being FALLENHOUR, Fallen Hour. It would really help us to get out more podcasts for you guys, and I want to keep doing this more and more for you guys. So that's anchor.fm/fallenhour. I think the starting sponsorship is $1 a month, and then it goes from $5 a month to $10 a month. Whatever you guys choose, whatever package you guys choose to sponsor us, I really, really appreciate it. And getting on, let's do this. So one of the reasons I actually got into conspiracies is I'm really fascinated with all these odd stories on the internet, all these odd stories you hear in life, and all these odd stories you hear your parents tell, your grandparents tell, from other tribes and other tribes and other cultures. And it's extremely interesting to hear these stories and recount these stories with them. And not only that, research stories and find these odd stories out there on the internet. The Titanic actually sprung up because I was doing some research on conspiracies, and this is one of the top ones that I actually wanted to cover. And it's kind of odd because a lot of the things surrounding the stories, and even the people who were actually there, who actually saw the Titanic go down, who were actually on the ship and had that personal experience, and to hear them tell their story was one of the things that actually piqued my interest. And there was one story of this lady. She was talking about being on the Titanic when it was going down, and while it was going down, she saw a ship not too far from the Titanic, just a few kilometers away, a few meters away. It was right there from. It was in her sight. She could see it, and she said they had to have heard their cries. They had to have seen the flares that the Titanic actually were shooting up in the air to get people to rescue them. This ship that was going by had to see them, but didn't stop. And I haven't done too much research on the story, too much research on the news articles and things, but I have been diving in, and these are just some of the things that are popping up already. Now, another strange thing was that the Titanic and its portholes, the ways we get on the ship, the Titanic actually had 14 portholes. Now, this was a weird one. There was a sister ship called the Olympic, and the Olympic had 16 portholes, the Titanic with 14. Now, the day that the Titanic was leaving, they actually photographed the Titanic, and it had 14 portholes in that photograph. But when you would go visit the wreckage and when the ship went down, the Titanic all of a sudden has 16, the same number of portholes that the Olympic had. Now, that's kind of strange. Now, there's a lot of things surrounding this, especially with insurance fraud. Now, the people who actually own the Olympic had problems with the Olympic, and they tried to get this thing fixed time and time again. They're actually fixing the Olympic 2 weeks before the Titanic launched. They actually got it to ship from one city to another and back, and they were successful at it. But they had a lot of issues with the Olympic, and the Titanic being the biggest ship in the world at that time, there is conspiracy out there that they actually switched out the Olympic for the Titanic. And the reason was insurance money to cover the cost of the Olympic, the insurance, because the Olympic, the Titanic itself didn't have enough money in insurance that it would be able to cover that. And the Olympic was actually worth more with insurance. So the theory goes that they hired a lot of people, they were having trouble doing this, but they actually got it done and switched out the Olympic for the Titanic. Now, it's kind of strange. Seeing the photos, especially from when the Titanic left to the wreckage today, sitting at 16 portholes when the Titanic originally had 14 by the time of launch. That's sort of strange. Now, there's all these other conspiracies out there, especially with UFOs underwater shooting beams into the side of the Titanic, a torpedo launching against the Titanic, all these things, other ships coming into play, and all these other stories out there on the internet, all these conspiracy theories of why this happened, of how this ship actually sank, a fire that took place inside of the boiler room, things like these that I think we should explore and see what we can pull out of this. I don't know what's to come. I don't know what exactly realizations we'll have in future podcasts, and I hope you guys join me along. This is not a conspiracy podcast, but I am actually promoting the start of the series. We're actually set to start this Thursday at 7 o'clock on Anchor, on iTunes, on Spotify, on Podbean, on Facebook, most importantly. If you guys are interested and you guys want to see what I look like, put a voice to the face, go to facebook.com/Titanic, and you guys will be able to have the full experience there as well. I will have visuals, I will have videos of people telling their story who were actually on the ship, and get more depth on these conspiracies and release those both on video and audio. And I hope you guys really join me on those as well. Now, one of the things about the Titanic was that there was actually a lot less, now that to my understanding, there's a lot less lifeboats on board for cosmetic reasons. They lessened the number of lifeboats on board to keep it appealing to the eye, to the investors, to the people who are jumping on board who were actually millionaires. Now, the strange thing was there was this actual lifeboat called Lifeboat 1 who had 12 millionaires on board, and eyewitnesses account that there were people crying out to that lifeboat, which actually occupied 64 people. That was its capacity, but there's only 12 millionaires on board, and they were disregarding people because this was the VIP section. This was the VIP boat, and this was the VIP lifeboat. So these millionaires were going to live, and then all these people who had families and things weren't going to get on this boat, even though it housed 64 people. That's just one of the stories that was told by an eyewitness who was actually there on the Titanic. Just some of the videos that we've got into over the past couple days, it's sort of strange to see all these encounters. I'll leave you guys with one cliffhanger that's going to creep you guys out. So there was an investor I don't know his name yet, but this investor who actually invested in the Titanic, invested in other ships that were going on the sea, on the Atlantic, when the Titanic was set to sail. He was investing in all these other ships. He owned this company that would actually do the entertainment for all these ships. He had entertainment that would go and be on these ships as they went and sailed and went on the seas. And this investor actually called off sick a couple days before the Titanic was set to launch. Now here's where things get creepy. He was actually photographed in France with his wife a couple days later, looking just fine, healthy. How he got to France? Was it by ship? How did he get there? And why did he call off sick and go to France with his wife a couple days before the Titanic sank? He didn't get on board. He canceled his ticket. He called in sick and said, I couldn't go on this trip. I'm sick. Now, here's the creepy part about the story. Before I leave you guys, he owned a ship called the Californian. And the Californian was actually in the middle of the Atlantic, en route with the Titanic, and there was nobody on board the Californian. But the strange thing about it was there was 3,000 wool blankets on board and a bunch of jumpers on board. Why that was sitting there in the middle of the Atlantic before the Titanic even sank, nobody knows. But this is one of the strange things I want to be covering inside of the future podcast. I'm going to get more in depth in that conspiracy of why his ship was sitting in the middle of the ocean while the Titanic was basically set to sink. My name is Titanic. You guys listening to Fallen Hour Radio. I hope you guys tune in this Thursday, 7 o'clock on Anchor, on iTunes, on Spotify, and I'll be able to get you guys a new podcast. I'm going to do more research and get you guys a much more detailed conspiracy podcast out this Thursday. I hope to see you guys there. And if you guys are willing to sponsor the podcast, I am looking for sponsors. It starts at $1 a month, $5 a month, and $10 a month. So I hope to get you guys sponsored the podcast. You guys can go to anchor.fm/fallenhour. There's a sponsored button right there. I'd appreciate any amount that you guys give. It would go for better equipment and give us that better quality for you guys and get more podcasts out to you guys, because I know you guys enjoyed the video. Another shout out to you guys from California. My name is Titanic. You guys are listening to Fallen Hour Radio.